Let's get started. Thank you, everybody on this call, so much for taking time from your busy hump day, and to come here and attend this webinar. We're going to try to make this as informative as possible. Keep it short and sweet, but giving you the information you need to take this new integration, this new product, and go out there and service your merchants and give them what they need. So I'm going to start with just a little bit of an introduction, and then I'm going to hand over control to Garima and Hank from Genie. Once they're done telling you about the actual product, we'll take any questions that have come up during the webinar. Feel free to post them at any point using the question and answer box at the bottom, and we'll make sure to answer anything that was left unanswered during the actual webinar. So first, a little bit about myself. I'm Ben Frisch. I lead business development at Accept.Blue. If you're not familiar with Accept.Blue, then really quickly, we're an incredible payment gateway that's completely unbiased, that truly empowers ISOs and ISVs to go out there and capture more mids, service them more successfully, and make more money in the process. We're different than other payment gateways out there in that we offer a fully white labeled solution. So every reseller gets automatically stronger branding and stickier merchants and all the benefits that come with having technology that is fully branded to your ISO office. We have an extremely comprehensive feature set with an incredible amount of tools and solutions to pretty much service every merchant out there. We have a strong focus on the B2B space in particular, but we're really at this point a fully omni-channel gateway, and you can target every merchant type from B2B, Moto, e-commerce, and card present as well. We're very much focused on delivering a price point which makes the gateway and ISO relationship more profitable for the ISO at the end of the day. And finally, we have what we call our API library and a host of other tools which make our gateway a really good fit for ISVs and people that are running software companies where it isn't just a straight up regular virtual terminal or something like that. With us on the call today, I have Garima, who is the president and co-founder of Genie, as well as Hank, who leads sales over there. Very grateful that you guys have joined us. Really excited about this integration. We've been working on this for a while, and I'm super pumped to push this out to all of our ISOs. So thank you, Garima and Hank, for being an incredible company to work with and for joining me today on this webinar.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ben. And thanks everybody for joining. We have a huge group here. We are really, really excited about Accept.Blue. We have been hearing about Accept.Blue for over a year now from partners saying how amazing it is and what a wonderful gateway they are and what a great partner they are. And they've definitely shown us that as well as we've kind of built this integration into Accept.Blue. So we're really, really excited about this partnership and launching it with all of you.
Thank you.
So with that, I want to get into what is Genie. So to start, myself, Hank, as well as my partner, Tom, all come from payments. We've all, for me specifically, I've done everything from outside sales, I've literally been business to business, feet on the street for merchant services. I've owned an ISO before, and I've been in the M&A space in the payments business. So we know exactly what you are all dealing with on a day-to-day basis. We know what's happening with margin compression. We know how hard it is to go get that new customer only to have him leave 2 months later because someone offered him 5 basis points less and a different type of solution. So where Genie came from, it was built by payments people for payments people, right? And it's really about trying to solve some of the issues that we have with some of the integrations with QuickBooks and some of the other things. So I'm going to take us through a quick slide deck. And like Ben said, please make sure that you put any questions in the Q&A so that we can make sure that we answer them or address them. But basically, Genie, we are an accounts receivable automation system, which is like a whole lot of big words that don't mean a lot to most of us, right? I've been in payments my whole life. I don't know what accounts receivable automation is. It means nothing to me. So what that really means is when we think about billing and invoices, there are 3 things that a business has to do in order to have a pretty good billing or invoicing system, right? And that one, they're not going to get paid if they don't send me a bill. Pretty simple, right? You guys all agree. If you don't send a bill, you can't get paid on it. Number 2, you've got to make sure you bill for the right stuff. So you've got to make sure that there's data integrity. So if you send me a bill that was actually meant for Hank, or you send me a bill and it goes to Ben's email address instead of me, that's a problem. So there's got to be data integrity across multiple platforms. And most importantly, you've got to make it easy for customers to pay you, right? So, you think about the Amazon experience, like, why does Amazon show up to my house 3 times a day? I mean, maybe it's because I'm a shopaholic, but I really don't think that. I think it's really just because they made it so easy for that buying experience, right? I just go on my phone. Before I have the thought of I need something, I've already clicked the button, made the purchase, and it's showing up at my house the next day. So if you make it easy for people to pay, it will accelerate payments and collections and everything else. And I think that we all know that. But if you send me a bill like a doctor's office and I get it 2 months later and I don't even know what it's for, and now I have to go find my checkbook and make this payment, the doctor's probably going to get paid a whole lot later, right? So at the end of the day, that's all we do. If you don't learn anything else today about that, that is all we do at Biller Genie. We automate the entire billing and invoicing process for a business. So we make sure that their bills are sent out on time every time. We ensure that the data is accurate across multiple platforms, and we'll make it super easy for their customers to pay them. That's it. All right. That's what accounts receivable automation is, and that's what we do. So this is kind of what I was talking about before. This is the issue that we all deal with, right? You walk into a merchant's business or you call a merchant and they say, oh yeah, I'd love to work with you for merchant services, but I use QuickBooks and it's really hard to change that. I know they're really expensive, but it's really hard for me to switch because otherwise how my customer is going to work. Or maybe they're using plugins, and there's a lot of plugins that we've used in the industry. I've used a lot of them. I've used the Verosas, I've used a million different plugins in my time, and they're built into QuickBooks as a virtual terminal. That's all that is. And it's not really a way for customers to pay. It's a way for merchant-driven payments within QuickBooks. So now someone has to log into QuickBooks. You have to call me with your credit card number so that I can key it in. And so it's basically a virtual terminal that's merchant-driven. So it's not allowing customers to pay online. There's a lot of duplicate entries. So maybe they've got a terminal sitting on the side. I know I used to do this and tell my sales reps to do this. Like, oh, someone says QuickBooks, that's okay. Just say, yeah, we work with it, and put a terminal on their desk and then just say, and just key it in, and then just key it into QuickBooks too, right? Just do that. Obviously, that's not the best way to do things. But if you have that duplicate entry, or you're using a hosted payments page somewhere, that duplicate entry into QuickBooks and into that terminal or into that hosted payment page that takes up a lot of time. There's a lot of errors. What if someone fat fingers a number? What if something doesn't go in right? What if you don't reconcile that correctly? Sending out invoices is another problem. How do I actually get the invoice out? Who do I send it to? How do they pay it? Those types of things. So that's really the problem these merchants are facing on a day-to-day basis. So our solution, if anybody ever mentions, like I guess the name of this webinar, never say no to a QuickBooks merchant, which we love. If someone ever says QuickBooks to you, QuickBooks Desktop, QuickBooks Online, Xero, we work with every version of QuickBooks, all versions of Xero. If they say to you, this is what I use, in order for you to use your merchant services account, you're mid with it, that's Biller Genie. We're the middleman that makes sure that all of that works directly in the Accept Blue gateway. How does it really work? So let's talk about this. Let's say that Ben owns a landscaping company and he does not use Biller Genie. Man, Ben, you should use Biller Genie, but let's say he doesn't, okay? And he goes and cuts Hank's lawn. And, so today he goes out and he plants 2 palm trees and he adds a whole bunch of true green or whatever. I don't know anything about landscaping, as you can tell. And he does all of this stuff and it's like $1,000, right? And so Ben wants to send Hank a bill. So he goes back to his office and he writes all of this stuff down. He writes, okay, it's 2 palm trees and it's all of this green grass stuff and pesticides, whatever. And it's $1,000. He puts a line items. He puts $1,000. He does that in QuickBooks. Then he goes to Adobe and he puts his logo on it, Ben's Landscaping. He puts all of the information again. He puts an envelope. He sends it to Hank, or he emails it to Hank. Now Hank gets it. Once Hank gets it, he has to make a payment. So he's going to Venmo, Zelle, PayPal, cash, check, hosted payment page, credit card. He's going to call him with his credit card number over the phone, or maybe in a super PCI compliant fashion, he's going to write his credit card number down and email it into somebody, right? So you might be doing all of those things to make that payment. Once Ben gets that payment, he sees it. And he's like, okay, I've got the payment. I've collected it. Now I need to go back into QuickBooks. I need to close out this invoice. I need to put the amount as well as the tender type. So I need to say that Hank paid me $1,000 is via check. I need to reconcile that transaction. I need to send Hank a receipt that says, hey, thanks so much. And, would love to do business with you again. That's all the things that Ben has to do. Now, when Ben is doing that, he's not landscaping, obviously. So if he were to be using Biller Genie, his whole life changes, right? But not too crazy, because Is anybody out here an iPhone user? Now we can't see you, but maybe put a thumbs up or something. Anybody out here an iPhone user? I'm an iPhone user. Okay, Ben, Hank, you guys, okay, iPhone users? Okay. If you told me that I had to switch to Android, I would go jump off a bridge somewhere. Like, I've been using an iPhone since the first version of iPhone ever came out. I have no idea how to use an Android. Like, someone hands me an Android to take a picture and I don't know what to do with it. Same thing with QuickBooks. If you tell a business owner they no longer have to use QuickBooks and to use some other plug-in invoicing system, something like that, it changes their process and they don't want to do it. But if Ben can do what he's always done his whole life, he goes back to his office and he goes into QuickBooks and he says, Hank owes me $1,000 and these are line items. That's what he does, like he's always done it. But then all he does is hit save and we take over from there. We have a bidirectional sync with QuickBooks. We're pulling all of that data, the items, the amounts, the customer data, all of it. We're pulling all of it. We're making really pretty invoices. We're putting Ben's logo on it, his colors, his verbiage. We're sending that invoice out for him directly to Hank. Hank receives it on the bottom of the email. It says pay via credit, debit, ACH, Apple Pay. Hank clicks the button, makes the payment. We see that that transaction has gone through. We go into QuickBooks, we close out that invoice, we mark it as paid, and we send Hank a receipt saying, hey, thanks so much for making that payment. We do it all seamlessly. Ben is not involved. It's just happening. And at the end of the day, his QuickBooks file is right and his bank account is right. We've got a bunch of questions. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I answer these before we keep going. All right. So the first question, will accept flu autofill level 3 and level 2 and level 3? Absolutely. That's actually something that happens both on the Biller Genie and accept blue side. So yes.
Big resounding yes for that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And exactly. That's one of the biggest benefits of this integration is that you can take the incredible product that Biller Genie is and take the gateway that Accept Blue is with all its benefits, including level 2 and 3, and you have them both together. So to answer that question directly, and that's a big yes. Every payment automatic, no need for the merchant to enter any information, no need for the customer to enter any information. All the level 2 and 3 stuff is just taken care of completely magically.
Absolutely. And we're all about the Genie. So we call this auto magically in our world. Everything is magic with the Genie, right? So automagically we handle it. Are there plans for additional accounting software integrations? This is a great question. Our roadmap is constantly growing, just like it is for just about every software company out there. Right now, we are looking at NetSuite and Sage 100, although we do think that that will probably be at the end of next year before we get there, just to be totally honest. But I will tell you that 86% of the SMB market in the United States is actually on QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Desktop. So it's a pretty large way to kind of get there. And then how long does implementation take? We're going to get into that, so hold that question. Is this all being done through Accept Blue? Hold that question too. It's all being done through Accept Blue, 1000%. I'm going to show you how we're going to actually run those transactions through Accept Blue. So for this program, does a merchant now have to re-enter CC numbers? We cannot, guys, we can't pull credit card numbers from an existing file. You can't move people's credit card information. It's probably tokenized on the gateway or wherever they're working today. But we do make this really easy because we're sending the invoice out to the customers. The customer can go ahead and key in their own credit card details at that time. But no, there is no way with any kind of process to really import in card numbers that would not be PCI compliant. QuickBooks POS is not an integration that we do today because QuickBooks POS is a point of sale solution. This solution is very much around accounts receivable and invoicing. So this will be more for your card not present merchants. QuickBooks POS is really meant for those retail restaurant spaces, and that's not really where Biller Genie plays. Cash discount is absolutely an option. Is there a retail point of sale devices? Again, we're not a point of sale solution, although we do have a swiper. Customers, yes, can pay via credit and ACH. There are demo accounts for Biller Genie. We'll tell you there, and they will not have to, will customers have to log in any other portal but QuickBooks? No, they will not have to log into any other portal but QuickBooks. I think I got all your questions so far. I'm going to keep going and then we'll see if we get more. I love these questions. You guys are doing great. All right. Next. What's included? This answers a lot of y'all's questions right now. There's no setup fee. There's no long-term contracts. It's $25 a month or $24.95. It includes everything I just said. So the software integrations, the invoicing, the branded letterhead, recurring billing, integrated payments, reconciliation, bulk payments, storage cards, auto pay, level 2 and level 3 optimization. It includes all of them. All right. All of those things are included in our plugin, which is $25. We do have a more premium version of our software as well, which is really accounting focused. It's things like dunning and partial payments and hosted email custom domains and things like that, that if someone wants to upgrade to, they're welcome to do that. But usually those are conversations that we're having with the CFO or accountant at that business. All right. We like to say this, and this is something maybe y'all can adopt when you guys are talking to people, but cash is absolutely king. And in our world, when we say cash, we mean virtual cash, because everything should be running through that gateway. All right. If that's it for questions here, I'm going to take us into a demo account and talk us a little bit about how to actually. Someone's asking, this is a question for you, Ben. The $24.95 is that's our fee. We do bill the merchant directly, right? That is not your gateway fee.
Right. We don't, the gateway doesn't have any specific fees associated with this plugin. So you'll have the fees from Biller Genie, but nothing from the gateway in terms of this plugin.
Perfect. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and take us into I'm going to do two things. So first, I'm going to show you onboarding, right? Because we've got a lot of questions. How long does it take? How did implementation work? So first, let me show you kind of a boarding page and what that looks like. Once you become a Biller Genie partner, and if you are not one, you can use a generic page that we've created for Accept Blue. If you become a Biller Genie partner, this will be branded to you. But your team, whether it's your implementations team or you yourself as a salesperson, will go in. Once you've signed up the merchant account, once you've set up their Accept Blue services, you'll go in here, you'll enter all of their information, right? So pretty basic KYC info here. You can add yourself as a sales executive and see right here where it says Accept Blue, you're just going to say credit card and ACH, or credit card and ACH. You put in the source key and PIN and you're done. That is your entire process of setting up Biller Genie. This sends the merchant an invite. They get the invite immediately. Once the merchant confirms their email, they can actually set up their entire account by themselves. There is a go button that allows them to set up their account and configure all of that by themselves. But being the white glove service provider that we are, we do contact every merchant the moment they have sent and confirmed their email address. We do contact that merchant and we do a live training with them to ensure that their accounts are set up for QuickBooks as well as for their entire reconciliation. We help them upload their logo and even talk to them about how they want their invoices structured and what they want sent out. All right, so that's boarding. We can have someone up and running same day. So super, super easy, same day. Someone asked transaction fee. It's $25 with us. That's what it is monthly. There's no additional fees on our plugin plan. It's $25 a month. There's no additional fees. Coco, you asked if the invoice is paid. The merchant does not know. They do not need to do anything. As long as they go into QuickBooks and they save that invoice, we take over, we do everything. So we send it, we collect on it, and we mark it as paid, and we do the full back end reconciliation, and we do reconcile that directly into QuickBooks. What if they use Peachtree and Accept Blue? So Peachtree is the old Sage softwares. We are not integrated into Sage at this moment. We are looking at that, and that is on our roadmap, but today we are not integrated into Sage and or Peachtree. All right. And yes, thank you. We do think we rock when it's Biller Genie plus Accept Blue. Anybody else have any other questions before I show you guys a demo? No? All right. Let me get into a demo account. So in a perfect world, your merchants are never, ever, ever seeing the screen that I'm showing you. Because once they've synced and once they've done the training with Biller Genie, they don't ever have to log in again. Like someone asked the question before, what happens if they do everything in QuickBooks? They're not logging into Biller Genie. But if they did log into Biller Genie, it's kind of pretty. We did a pretty good job here. So it looks really nice. It gives them a dashboard. It tells them exactly what their sales volume was. It tells them any to-do messages like, hey, these emails didn't go through, or hey, these are your outstanding invoices, or these are the transactions that we've just processed for you. Once we do that sync, and we are syncing all day, every day, bilaterally, or I'm sorry, bidirectionally, which means that if someone added information for the customer here, we sync it into QuickBooks. So if I add an email address for Rich Walker here, that would automatically be synced into QuickBooks. Same thing if they added that to QuickBooks, we would bring it on over here as well. All of the customer information, their email addresses, their phone numbers, their open invoices, their item history, everything that automatically comes over. Once I am looking at that specific customer defaults are really easy to change. Everything that we do is by a toggle. So they can go into this as a merchant. They can say, hey, I don't want this customer to ever pay with credit card because you know what? He doesn't allow me to charge technology fees and it's too expensive. I'm only going to allow ACH payments, or the other way around, right? I'm only going to allow ACH payments because he doesn't let me charge any kind of surcharge or cash discounting. Maybe I don't want to allow partial payments. things like that. So this is a super, super simple toggle. Now, we do set up these default settings from a global basis for all of their customers. We help them do that the first time that they get set up with us, but this is just how someone could go in and change this on a one-off basis if they would like to. Also, once I'm looking at that customer, I can even see that they're open invoices. So I can see any open invoices that they may have. In this case, this customer, of course, does not have any open invoices. Why would I choose a customer with open invoices? Give me 1 second. All right, so I know Adam's Candy Shop has a ton of open invoices, right? So here we can see all of the invoices that Adam has open. So if he calls me, if this is my business and he calls me and he says, hey, I never received the invoice. So number one, I can go into any specific invoice and I can resend it to him. So I can send it to him again, email or paper mail. I can take a payment over the phone. So if I really want to use this as a virtual terminal, I can absolutely do that, right? So I can put in a new stored card, create a transaction, or use one of the ones he had. I can even call him out on lying. I can say, actually, Adam, you saw this invoice on the 7th. You tried to pay us on the 7th. So I know that you saw this invoice. So we have a full audit log that they have access to. This is what the invoice looks like, what it is. And this is, my colors, my branding, that kind of thing. All of that is set up when we look at our add-ons marketplace, and we look at our invoice messenger. This is the most important part here. We have a lot of tool tips, so this stuff will come up as I'm going through. But when we do that first sync with them on QuickBooks and we're doing that training, we're asking them, would you like us to send that invoice automatically on the date that it was created? Then we can do that. Some people say, no, I don't want you to send it on the date it was created. We bill everybody on the 30th, send it on the 30th. So we could do that. For some people, they have a PO approval process. So maybe they say it takes us 15 days to approve the invoices before we want them sent out. So we put 15 days. Here is where the magic happens, because this is where the merchant can put in their own logo. They can change the color, right? They can make it look just like them. They can write whatever they want, pay me or die. They can have it say and look and feel exactly the way they want it to. And this is what goes out. This is what it looks like in preview mode, either on a computer or on a phone. Once that invoice is paid and we've already taken the payment and the reconciliation is completed in QuickBooks, this is what we said. So thank you for your payment, 20% off next visit, whatever we want to say, that can be added here as well. So this is the part that is fully customizable. Someone also asked about the setup of, or someone asked about like technology fees. That's what we call the idea of surcharging, right? So when we talk about surcharging and that kind of thing, we call it technology fees is added like here. So right now we call it a non-cash adjustment is coming up on their invoice. We do dual pricing. So it'll show them what the price would be with credit card with that percentage, as well as what the price would be without that percentage if they were to pay via ACH. So that's how we're handling this. This can be turned on or off on a per customer or per user basis, but really this should be turned on for the entire MID for that account. And they just kind of click this button here, yes or no, and the percentage that they want to charge to cover whatever flat fee you may have. There's a lot more questions, so I'm just going to go into these real quick. Do you sell payments directly to merchants? No, we are not. We are not a merchant services company. That's not what we do. If a merchant comes to us, I will tell you, we don't even have a direct sales force. We only sell through partners. If a merchant finds us on Google and decides that they want to sign up and they do not have a merchant service provider or a partner, then we're not going to say no to them. But that is not our business. We are absolutely not a payment provider whatsoever. We do not do text payments. That is on our roadmap. We expect to have that by Q2 of 2023. Can I use customer choice cash discount surcharge? So that is what I just showed in the technology fees. Can a merchant use QuickBooks ACH within Bill or Genie? I'm going to say yes and no. So we do have an integration into the QuickBooks payments gateway, which allows for ACH. We do have some customers who are on this. It's pretty clunky. It's not the best ACH platform. I would highly recommend that you set them up with your own ACH and put that on AcceptBlue. It'll be a much better experience for the merchant. Also, QuickBooks ACH is pretty expensive. It's at a 1% rate. Is there a card present solution? No, we are not a card present solution. So let me kind of get into that real quick. I've said this a few times. I want to make it clear that we're really 55% of the businesses in the United States send out some kind of invoice. They may not be the businesses that you're targeting on a day-to-day basis because it's not retail or restaurant, but it's going to be B2B. It's going to be wholesalers, manufacturers, bookstores, caterers, professional services, doctors, lawyers, accountants, construction. That's really where we play, and we do amazing at it. And not just that, we have found that Biller Genie accounts are a much higher margin account because there isn't the margin compression that you see in some of the other industries. Invoiced and created in QuickBooks or Biller Genie? Now, this is a hard question because in QuickBooks, the actual act of going in and putting a person's name in and putting those line items is called invoice creation. We do what's called electronic bill presentment. So we are creating the invoice and sending it out. But if you're talking in accounting speak, which I'm not sure, Jan, if you're an accountant and that's why you're asking, in accounting speak, the invoice is created in QuickBooks, meaning the line items and all of the things that go along with it. That is creating in QuickBooks. We pull it over and we do electronic bill presentment. For ACH, any particular provider we need to use, you can use any ACH provider as long as it works through AcceptBlue. It's fine, doesn't make a difference. For us, all we're taking is the source key and PIN on AcceptBlue, and those transactions are running just the way they always do. Past due invoice reminders, great question. Reminders, late fees, branded customer portals, we have all of that. Those are part of our add-ons marketplace, and if someone wants to add those services or features, then they can do so, and those are additional charges as they would want to use that. How do we manage recurring billing? Recurring billing is actually managed both through Biller Genie as well as through QuickBooks. So if they have recurring billing set up in QuickBooks, we are pulling that over and we are handling that the way that they do that in QuickBooks, which is the best way to do it because it keeps their book straight and their accountants happy. Although they can manage recurring billing on our side as well. What kind of demo is available, if any, to show my merchant? We have a partner page, which I'm sure Ben will send out to you with a partner resource center that has all of our marketing materials. It has guided videos as well as demos. There's also an email address that's partners@billergenie.com. I'm going to say that a few times, partners@billergenie.com. Anything you need a live demo, you want a merchant to have a demo, you want to have a demo account, you want to work with something, anything like that, please send us an email at partners@billergenie.com and we will absolutely get that taken care of. Is there anything or anyone you don't integrate with processor-wise? No, we are processor agnostic. We don't care about the processing. That is not who we are. That is your job, not ours. Do you have a market piece or demo to show the merchant? Yep, we absolutely have that on our partner portal. You cannot add technology fees to ACH. That would not be compliant. You mentioned you offered a swiper. So this is for think like HVAC, where 90% of their transactions are invoice related, but 10% someone might come in and buy a filter. It's just a USB swiper. It's a micro reader that they can just plug in and they can, swipe that transaction if they would like to. It's still going through the gateway. It's pretty simple. And we are still reconciling that transaction to QuickBooks. I know an account that has a machine with Biller Genie and QuickBooks. I'm not sure how that would work with a walk-in customer. Make an invoice. We don't have any machines, so it's probably not Biller Genie. We don't have any terminals that we sell on Biller Genie. We do have, like I said, a MagTech reader that someone could use, so that's how that might work. But other than that, I'm not really sure. Yes, Biller Genie can be standalone without QuickBooks. So we do get this question a lot. If someone wants to use this as an invoicing platform or just a platform like you want to use like Wave or something like, they absolutely can use this as a standalone platform without having an integration to an accounting software. I will tell you our secret sauce, like our magic, is the way that we really do set those integrations and pull that information back and forth into the accounting software. But yes, people can use this as a standalone software. Any other questions? We're right at 30 minutes, Ben.
Garima, I have to tell you, I when you started talking about me doing landscaping for Hank, I was like, no way, I am never doing any landscaping for Hank. But if I can use Biller Genie, Hank, we can talk. I can talk about that. It's an incredible product. I mean, it's got everything. It's got all the bells and whistles. Almost every question here was answered with a yes, which is, I love that. Everybody loved that. ISOs love that. Merchants love that. So guys, again, last call for any questions, but to recap, this is an incredible product for your merchants that are using any sort of accounting software. So this sort of sits in between that accounting software and the gateway. Gateway is powering the payments. This is powering the connection so that everything runs through QuickBooks, but is actually being taken care of on the back end by the gateway. For people that are confused about the invoicing that's built into the AcceptBlue virtual terminal, that's a completely separate function. This is meant for people that are already using accounting software and need a way to connect it to the gateway. The invoices that are built into the gateway is for people that are just creating invoices within the gateway, are not using any sort of outside accounting software, and it suffices for them to just have a built-in invoicing. So just to clarify that. Otherwise, Garima, thank you so much. Great job, Hank. Thank you so much. This has been an incredibly informative session. I know for me, even though I already know a little bit about it, but it's told me so much. I'm sure it's been the same for many of our ISOs. And really looking forward to this partnership. Guys, Garima already told you how to get more information. You go to partners@billergenie.com. If you need any information about Accept Blue, you just go to accept.blue, no.com, just accept.blue. That's our website. Or you can send an email to support@accept.blue. Again, no.com, just support@accept.blue. And any of our teams would be more than happy to answer any questions or help you with anything that you might need. Thank you, everybody, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.